All right, we're recording. Hi, it's Marina, and we are doing a plan with me for June 7th. I feel like this is, yeah, okay, I'm gonna move this down because it's hitting the desk. All right, cool. We're back on track. I realized that I hadn't done my fucking watercolor shit, and I was like, maybe I should show you guys how I do that. No one's ever asked for it, but here's just a super simple, sorry, dropped my brush. And you're gonna hear a lot of noise on this one because my headphones are going out. So we're trying to figure out how to get what I need in terms of new headphones, what's up otherwise, but it's just a simple, like, child's watercolor set. You know, glass of water, a rag to wipe my brush off on, and that's what I use to do my little watercolor bits. So I thought I'd do one just for you guys to see, because I need to fill this baby out. Okay, so I get some water. Let's make sure, yeah, you can see that. All right, get some water on my brush. And then I just go into, you know, whatever color I want. Here, let's get a ton of yellow. So I really want this to be like super yellow. And I just put it right there on the plastic. So this is a great way to turn just a couple of colors, you know, into some pretty good variety of colors that you can use. And I have other watercolor palettes that I like as well. But this is like $3.99 at Office Max. It's probably less at like a kid's art store or like a Michael's or something. And for what you pay for this guy, I feel like it's actually one of the higher quality pigments out there. You know, I'll see bigger sets, and I have a bigger set, but the pigment just isn't that rich, you know, it's not really doing a lot of work. So, and you can look up like comparisons on like pigment or whatever anywhere else, but I feel like that's, so you scoop all this pigment off, get it in the brush, and then you just mush it onto the palette. And because I'm painting kind of a large area, I want a lot. I'm not just highlighting something, you know? So let's do a little orange. I want to get some orange in there. So get that. Pick up some of this red from last time I did some mixing. Put that in there. Sometimes I'll put it on one side so it doesn't really mix that much, but sometimes I really want it to be like kind of orangey, you know? Just get some of that pigment off on there that I can pick up later if I want it. And then let's get some more yellow and scoop it on this side. So we've got something to, because I frequently like an ombre, you know what I mean? I can do this for hours, so this is probably not that exciting for y'all, but I just, you know, thought I'd do it. So now that that's mixed, I'm going to put it up here where you can't see it, but where I can. Actually, I can't do that because it won't fit. So I'm going to put it over here. So you can't see it anymore, but it's there. And I'll pick it up when I need it. So I usually turn the paper. I usually turn it, you know, 90 degrees or whatever. But obviously I want to stay in frame. So I'm going to do this. So I just, actually, should I use this? Yeah, let's do that just in case. So it's not that wet, but let's dab it off a little bit so we get most of the moisture off. Because this Tomoe paper, river paper, is basically miraculous in terms of how it deals with watercolor. But just because it's really, really good doesn't mean it's still not fairly thin paper. So I don't want to put too much water down. But I do want to get that so I can put a little bit more water on my brush and then tap it off on the side of the cup that I'm using, just to make sure. Get a little bit more paint on my brush and just brush it down. Use more water to sort of move the pigment around. And I want to go here from 5 to 9 because that's really when I'm asleep. And then I want to pick up a little orange and let's put it up here and then blend it in just to give it some depth. Same on this side, pick up a little orange and then blend it in. So this brush is like getting little pieces of brush bristle on the paper. I don't know if you can see that, but it's an older brush, so I'm not surprised by that. And then let's add a little bit more water here. And now let's try, I try to do these lunch stripes with one, it's a little wet, I'm gonna take a little water off. I'm trying to do these with one swipe. See that? I just laid down the pigment with one swipe. That's a little light. So I'm gonna add in some orange here so that I can tell that that is supposed to be lunch. All right, and then one stripe. So I basically push the brush down until it's the width of the stripe. And this guy, this brush, you can get it. Michael's, you can get it in an art supply store if you feel like it. It's not hard to get these brushes. And it'll take a little practice to be able to push and get the exact shape that you want. But when you fuck it up, it's not that big of a deal, you know? You just go over the line, that's it. There's no consequences, really. That's one of the things I like about painting and art is that, you know, since I'm not a professional artist in this way, at least, there's no consequences. For example, you might notice that I totally fucked it up. I don't know if you see that, but I put my lunch line in the wrong place. And there's not much I can do about it. Since this is dry, sometimes when the watercolor is wet, you can lift the pigment back up off the page by doing this. But that's not going to happen for this guy. So you know what I'll do is I'll just make an oranger line on top of here because I'm actually supposed to eat at noon, not 1. So that'll just be a thing, just be a little thing. So this is like solid orange straight from the pigment pan. And just bring it along. So it helps for me to think about paint as like, you think about the pigment in the paint as little particulate. Let's make this oranger too, just so it'll match. There's little pieces of paint, little pieces of color in there that are making it orange or yellow or whatever. You can be a little bit, I can be a little bit more heavy-handed on this one because there's nothing on the back for it to smear or whatever. All right, so let's get that and get some more orange in here and put that in the palette. Oh, so this one, see, you can actually erase. You press hard, and you lift that pigment back up. Obviously, there's still a little drip, but it's not bad. And I want to put some orange in here so it'll match what's going on the page. Just so I can sort of like de-emphasize this block and re-emphasize this block. So let's take some liquid off our brush so we can more easily get that pigment to move around. But when I think about, and this might not be for everybody, but I think about all the little particles of color there in the paint, what they're doing, where they're moving. And that makes it easier for me to paint and to push the pigment where I need to go. When I was learning how to paint, my art teachers didn't really talk about that stuff that much. Or if they did, they didn't really talk about it in a way that made sense to me. So it wasn't until I was older, I don't know if somebody said it or if I just started thinking about it in this way, but I started to think about the pigment. See, this one's much darker than that one because there's a lot of pigment there. Boop, boop. Let's introduce some yellow back in. Put it along the bottom here, put it along the bottom here. See that? It just adds some depth to the line. Let's put some in here too. You can do this for hours, you know? That's one of the reasons why I haven't really filmed this process, because I usually do it at night after my husband is asleep, because it's just really calming. I don't have to think about a theme. I don't have to try to come up with anything, you know? Like, I can just put these stripes down and there's no meaning behind them, you know, except for this is when I'm supposed to break for lunch, right? So I can do whatever I want within this context, and it's just really relaxing. So now here we have one at midnight. And if you hear me like sniffling or sometimes I've been annoyed, but I'm like, well, I can't redo it. Like, I mean, I guess I could do voiceover, but y'all, that's a lot of work. And I love you and you're worth it. So if that's what you want, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that'll do a fucking voiceover over their voice when they're like feeling stuffy, but that is not who I am. At the end of the day, that's not who I am. I can't do it. And now, of course, we take 2 a.m. when I'm supposed to be getting ready for bed, and we just cover that with pigment. And don't worry, if it doesn't do full coverage the first time, you can go over it again. All right, just laying down some pigment there. And then let's get some yellow and finish that off right in there. Big old stripe of yellow. I can be way sloppier at the bottom here because there's nothing that has to go under it. So I just kind of lose it at the end and get super sloppy. But that's that. Now let's do a little bit more. I'm gonna actually take some red here and put it in this guy and do a little bit more just to set. I'm gonna dab that off a little bit on the towel just to set this as dark as possible to make sure I can see that this is the one. 12. Not 1. That's when I'm supposed to have lunch. There we are. Add a little bit of that darker pigment to the top again, just to make it blend in. But yeah, I can do this. I can spend no time at all on a page, and then I can spend, you know, how long have I been doing this? 15 minutes on another page. So it's not super time consuming. It doesn't take all of my time, but it is quite a lot. All right, let's wake up my computer because she fell asleep while I was doing that. And all right, so now I'm in the camera. I want to let this dry a little bit, but it dries relatively quickly. Sometimes if I'm being very impatient and I want to go from one page to another really quickly, I'll actually take this into the bathroom and blow dry it with the blow dryer for my hair, which actually is not mine, it's my husband's. I don't blow dry my hair. I have curly hair and that's bad for it. Come on, buddy. This spot wants to be really wet. So sometimes I just do that. Just blot it up. So you're good. All right. And I'll do the others later because we do have work to do. But see, this is what that blob of pigment ended up looking like after I had moved a bunch of stuff around and added a bunch more pigment. So I'll keep that there so I can use it again if I want to. And I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. But let's get going. Isn't that beautiful? I think these, when I did the lines, those were okay. You know, I'm not mad at it. I might go back to them. But to be honest, I think I missed my color. And also, when the meal times are like this subdued, I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe I like this. Maybe I like this. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The world is a funny place. Anyway, here's my tools of my trade. Last time we talked and I did some planning, we talked about, what did we talk about? Oh, tracking growth and how to track what I want to track, basically, growth-wise. Put that up on the desk so I don't knock it over. You know, what do I want my... Oh, I thought I had something to do this Saturday, but it looks like I don't. Weird. Boop. Next guy. You know, what do I want to track here, right? Like, what is significant about this, etc. that I want to know about. Does that make sense? That sounds like a weird thing. So 3 to 4, I have a hold. And this is an erasable pen, so I'll erase this and then write the person's name if they want to. And this is in person. Because we're all vaccinated. I'm very excited about that. Now this is another hold. 1 to 2. I think that's not actually a hold. I think that's a real meeting. But I don't have an invite to it, so maybe I'll follow up. I'm going to put lunch in here so that I don't forget, because I have exactly 1 hour to eat my lunch. Okay, that's there. That's there. Awesome. Oh, okay. This. 6. I'm putting it till 9. I don't know if that's really till 9, but okay. And then book club, I really have to read that book because I haven't been. Oopsie. Oopsie. What a fucking weird thing to say as an adult person, but whatever. All right, so that's next week. And then let's see, we're at 20 minutes. I think I can fill in this guy. Oh, and I didn't even show you my quotes. I got caught up in watercoloring. So I got this at Panda Express yesterday. Today's your lucky day. And then I wrote underneath, I should say underneath, but under perfectionism is fear. So underneath perfectionism is fear. And then this is a question I've asked myself. What if growth was just for fun? And then this is something that I'm taking a class from Paloma from 1111, which if you've ever taken a class from me, I used to raffle off 1111 gift cards in my classes just to like reward people for showing up to class and like showing up for themselves. So I'm obviously a big fan of her. And she said, nothing is more powerful than your limbic brain trying to keep you safe, which felt extremely like that whole entire sentence was like, wow, love it. Because I think I have been thinking of my limbic brain in too negative a sense, you know? I've been thinking about the limbic brain as like a primitive brain or a lizard brain. The limbic brain is the brain, the part of the brain that like is responsible for like panic attacks and running away from jaguars and whatever else, you know, we were born to do as humans. I mean, I probably wouldn't make it far, but in theory. So breakfast and biz. What would I call it? Biz dev class. Dev. The other thing, so the limbic brain is this like panic brain. It's where you are freaked out about things and it's where you whatever. But it's also, she was talking about it's unlike your prefrontal cortex. Say that 5 times fast. Which is a newer part of the brain and is made for like, you know, complex problem solving and living in a society, etc. The limbic brain has almost endless energy. Basically, as long as you're up, it's up. But the prefrontal cortex can only operate for like 3 to 4 hours a day. Which is one of the reasons I don't work that much, is like knowing that. That's why I don't work that much. But 2 to 4. So, but I've always thought of like the prefrontal cortex as the big brain or the grown-up brain or the mature brain. The one that like makes, you know, understands subtlety and is able to like get nuance and like do strategic planning. Like the brain that sets up all of this fucking systems for me to know when to eat and everything, that's my prefrontal cortex. The brain that's filling out this shit while I'm talking to you, that's my limbic brain. Like, she don't have to work hard. But she, you know, whatever. And then, oh, right, this thing. Let's see. How did I, foundations training. I made it all red this time, and it's been blue previously, but I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and make it blue. I'm not sure. But anyway, we were talking about that in class, the limbic brain and the prefrontal cortex. And the limbic brain is the brain that's keeping me safe, right? The limbic brain is the brain that's like, that's where my inner critic comes from, I think. I think it's a combination of the limbic brain and the prefrontal cortex trying to translate for the limbic brain and then just fucking it up. Because my inner critic, you know, that negative voice that's like, no one fucking cares. Why are you sharing this? Or why are you making this? Or why are you doing this? It's dumb. That voice, that's a voice that, 130, sorry. That's a voice that wants to protect me, right? They don't want me to be rejected by the world I live in. They don't want me to lose out on opportunities because people think I'm too weird, right? 430. So the thing with the limbic brain is that it just wants me to be safe and happy. But, you know, my prefrontal cortex wants me to be the happiest and the safest. Date night. So anyway, we were talking in class about calling the limbic brain the ancient brain because it has, in addition to a lot of weird fears, it has a lot of knowledge. You know, this is a brain that has been with us since before, you know, before we had reasoning. That's pretty cool. So this is actually, I'm going to get some stickers from this and put like a vacation sticker because this whole weekend is my grandma's. I know you're going to call me a name because I don't actually remember what fucking age she is. But my grandma's 80 something and we're all vaccinated, my whole family now. So we're going to go fucking celebrate my grandma's birthday at the beach. Where's a vacation sticker? Also, people are like texting me while I'm doing this and I'm like, I'm not reading this yet. I know it's like only like 5 minutes between when I get these texts and read them, and I feel like, I don't know, celebrate every tiny victory. That seems condescending. She is short though. Let's see, is there any, oh, celebrate. This will be perfect. Okay. We'll put that there. All right. Should I also do the weekend getaway one? I feel like they match too much. Let's see. I'm gonna put this over here. Should I? No. Should I? Should I do something? Daydreams and ice creams. Let's see. Anyway, I'll probably never use all of these fucking stickers from Happy Plans. Weekend getaway. I'm just gonna put weekend getaway because it's pretty cute and it establishes that it's both the weekend and a getaway. Those are my two things that I need to know.